Hello everyone, and welcome to We're Heading Out West Part 3. In this episode, we retrace our journey into the Chihuahuan Desert in southern New Mexico with some bonus commentary and content to enjoy. Let's get out our adventure hats and explore this beautiful state we know as New Mexico. Well, it's time for us to move on from Amarillo, Texas. Today we're going to make our way to Bottomless Lake State Park in New Mexico. It's about 15 minutes or so from Roswell.
I want you to go with me to Roswell.
So we're going to make this trip. We're going to take our time today because it's real windy. We might need to pull over for a little bit at some point. So, anyways, let's get this going.
Let's roll.
Oh yeah! Let's get on down the road.
We got no plans. Good things come to those who can.
Live moment to moment. Sorry, I was overtaken by the moment. It won't happen again.
Look alive, 'cause while I was waiting for you, paradise is on the other side of the road. We don't know. Take it along. You and I were born to roll. Until we go, we'll make a home out on the road. Where walls can't confine us, we'll make our own way. We'll leave all our troubles yesterday. Look alive, 'cause while I was waiting for you, paradise is on the other side of the road. We don't know, taking a long way. You and I were born to
Welcome to New Mexico.
We made it.
Look alive, 'cause while I was waiting for you, paradise is on the other side of the road. We don't know, taking a long way. You and I were born to roll. We're almost there.
We are surrounded by the Chihuahuan Desert as we make our way towards the entrance of Bottomless Lake State Park. Yeah, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. It'll help our channel a lot. Now let's get on with the campground tour, and then we'll show you the rest of the state park.
Campground, campground, campground!
We are staying at the Leah Lakes Campground. It has 32 RV sites and 3 tent sites. All RV sites have water and electric. A few are equipped for 50 amps. Sites 2 through 7 are the full hookup sites. Currently, sites with sewer are $18 a night, and electric and water only sites are $14. The sites are very roomy with a covered picnic table and great views of the surrounding landscape. bathhouse in the day use area has toilets and hot showers.
Wait, I thought Mr. Hanky only came at Christmas time.
If you aren't lucky enough to snag a sewer site, there is a dump station available. There's a large covered pavilion in the center of the campground with plenty of seating. Animal-proof trash bins are located throughout the campground, with dumpsters located near the entrance. The campground is just steps away from the day use area. This large pavilion is a great place to escape the hot afternoon sun. The big attraction here is the small beach and swimming area. A section of Leah Lake is roped off for swimming only. On Leah Lake, you can also scuba dive, fish, and kayak. Leah Lake has a surface area of about 15 acres and has a depth of 90 feet. The day use area also has picnic tables, a playground, a sand volleyball court, and a large pavilion near the water. There are 4.53 total miles of trails in the park, including a mountain bike trail, as well as a short half-mile elevated wetlands trail.
It's beautiful.
The wetlands trail is slightly elevated and is ADA accessible. The visitor center is located near the Lower Lakes campground.
Bottomless Lake State Park is a 1,400-acre state park located about 15 miles southeast of Roswell in southeastern New Mexico. Named after the 9 small deep lakes lined along the eastern escarpment of the Pecos River Valley, Bottomless Lake State Park was New Mexico's first state park, established in 1933. The bottomless lakes were created as a result of groundwater rising along faults, dissolving gypsum-rich rock, creating sinkholes, also known as cenotes. That's right, the lakes are fed by an underground aquifer.
The Lower Lakes campground has 10 developed campsites with no hookups. At present, these cost $10 a night. There are vault toilets, but no showers. However, Leah Lake Campground is only a few miles up the road, and you can use those facilities.
These campsites are probably more ideal for camper vans and tents. Today we journey to the missile range where the first atomic bomb was tested to explore a gem of a national park. But first, we make our way west from Roswell, New Mexico on US Route 70 with the Sierra Blanca and Capitan mountain ranges to the right side of us and the Sacramento mountain range passing us on the left. What a treasured experience we're having right now.
She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes.
Secret. We have arrived.
So we made it to White Sands National Park. Let's go have some fun in the sand. How about it?
Let's do it! As you enter the park, you will first see the Visitor Center. There are 2 parking lots with limited RV parking spaces. There are rangers inside to help you with any questions you may have to plan your day. There are some exhibits in the small museum in the Visitor Center that gives you a good history of the national park. The gift shop has a nice variety of souvenirs and a water filling station. Take note that there is nowhere inside the park to get water, and the temperature can be extreme.
With no water. Water sucks. Gatorade is better.
Approximately 2 miles from the Visitor Center is the trailhead for the Playa Trail. This trail is rated easy. It is relatively flat and is a half-mile loop.
Now, right over there was where we were just at that trailhead. And across from that is this other trailhead. And there's bathrooms at this location and a small parking lot that you can park at.
The Dune Nature Trail is rated as moderate. It is 1.6 miles and requires climbing 2 steep dunes and walking on soft sand.
So we're just gonna follow this trail up to the top of the dune there, so you guys can get an idea what it looks like on the other side. Turned out to be a perfect day to be here. It's in the low 80s right now, well maybe the mid 80s now, and there's a breeze that's cutting through, so it's keeping us nice and cool.
There is limited shade, so be prepared for this hike. Bring plenty of water and look for mile markers often to be sure you're not going off trail. This vast landscape of sand dunes you see all around us here in the Tularosa Basin is the largest gypsum dune field of its kind on the planet Earth. Found in south central New Mexico, White Sands National Park covers about 228 square miles and is completely surrounded by the White Sands Missile Range.
Missile launch.
If you're looking for an easy, ADA accessible trail in the park, the Interdune Boardwalk is the best choice. It's a 0.4 mile elevated boardwalk with some great areas to view plants and animals. The trailhead has vaulted toilets and a good sized parking lot.
Well, let's go do this boardwalk here over the dunes. Still feels pretty good, not sweating at all. What do you guys think about this national park so far? Let us know down in the comment section below.
Yeah, let's stop here for a minute. This is nice if it is really hot and you need to take a break.
Shows you what kind of wildlife you'll find out here, what kind of animal life and stuff. And the boardwalk, it's really not that long. And then when you get to the end, there's a nice little overlook into the dunes. White Sands was established as a national monument on January 18, 1933 by President Herbert Hoover. It was later designated a national park on December 20, 2019, and the National Defense Authorization Act signed into law by President Donald J. Trump.
The Backcountry Camping Trail is rated as moderate. It is a 2-mile loop through the heart of the dunes. It can take up to an hour and a half to complete. Hikers wanting to spend the night in the backcountry will use this trail to reach the primitive camping sites.
Somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 years ago, this area was covered with open grasslands and large lakes, fed by many streams. Ice Age animals roamed the lands, feeding on the vegetation, also providing game for the local Paleo-Indian inhabitants. With that being said, you might wonder why the landscape looks so different today. Starting roughly 12,000 years ago, as the climate got warmer, rain and snowmelt dissolved gypsum from the surrounding mountains and carried it into the basin. Further warming and drying over time caused the lakes to evaporate and form selenite crystals. Strong winds then broke up the crystals and transported them eastward into the basin. And a similar process still continues to produce gypsum sand today, and most likely for many, many more years to come.
There are 3 designated picnic areas in White Sands National Park. This is the Primrose Picnic Area. The tables are equipped with metal shade structures and have elevated grills. Some tables can accommodate wheelchairs. Near Primrose is the Roadrunner Picnic Area. When using the picnic areas, be careful of white plates, napkins, and plastic cutlery. The park asks that you use bright colors for your picnic to avoid them getting lost in the sand. The trailhead has vaulted toilets and a go-sized parking lot. The group use area can be reserved for $100. The large pavilion can accommodate up to 25 guests. You'll have access to 2 large charcoal grills, shaded picnic tables, trash receptacles, and vault toilets. The White Sands Amphitheater holds many events throughout the year, most notably full moon nights. During these, there are live musical acts, ranger programs, and guest presenters. Check the website for details and dates.
Here's the Alkali Flat Trail. It is a 5-mile loop trail that should take about 3 hours roughly.
This area is designated for horse trailers. You must have a free day use horse and other pack animal permit. This can be obtained on their website. The third picnic area is Yucca. This area has vaulted toilets, picnic tables with metal shade structures, elevated grills, and trash cans.
So this is considered the West Filming Area. There's a nice backdrop of the San Andreas Mountains. It's just magnificent here. Majestic, beautiful. It's just really awesome.
The West Filming Area is one of the most popular places in White Sands. It's perfect for filming videos, photography, and sledding. It has a stunning history with film, TV, and music videos, dating back to the 1950s movie Solomon's Mine and the 2020 music video for 911 by Lady Gaga.
We have 2 more stops to make here in the Tularosa Basin, but I think we can save that for tomorrow. Let's make our way back to base camp at Biomass Lake State Park, and hopefully we'll make it back in time for a beautiful sunset. Way off in the background is Sierra Blanco Mountain Peak.
Wow, what a beautiful night.
Well, let's get some sleep. We have a long day ahead of us tomorrow. Today we're out on another adventure. We are making our way past the Capitan Mountains here in New Mexico, on our way to the Valley of Fires.
And fire him.
After that, we plan on making our way to Three Rivers Petroglyph. It looks like another beautiful day in New Mexico. The vista here that shows the Capitan Mountain Range. I bet it was fun building this road through the lava field. Well, let's do a quick tour of the campground and day use area, and then we'll hit the trail afterwards. Resting on the edge of the Carrizozo volcanic field in central New Mexico, the Valley of Fires Recreation Area offers opportunities for hiking, RV and tent camping, as well as a day use area where you can enjoy an afternoon picnic.
Fees for camping are $18 a night for water and electric. Primitive and water sites are only $12 a night, and tent sites are $7. Some sites are first come, first serve, and some are available to reserve online. The campground has 13 RV sites and 6 tent sites. Each site has a picnic shelter, picnic table, and a grill. Sites 4 and 12 are ADA accessible. You can access the Malpass Nature Trail within the campground. This is a 0.75-mile paved path that goes from the group shelter through the lava field and loops back to the group shelter. Potable water is available, as well as a dump station. Restrooms with flush toilets and showers are available and meet ADA accessibility standards. The Visitor Center is staffed by volunteers on the weekend. It has books, postcards, and t-shirts. The group shelter is available for campers to use, which offers grills and picnic tables.
You can even get in a game of horseshoes while visiting the Valley of Fires.
Holy horseshoes!
Exactly, Robert.
The Karazozo volcanic field is a monogenic volcanic field consisting of 2 lava flows created by groups of cinder cones. The oldest of the 2 lava flows is named Brokeback Flow, which erupted from vents 6 miles northwest of Little Black Peak, roughly 100,000 years ago, covering 20 square miles. The Karazozo volcanic field that we are visiting now is the younger of the 2 lava flows, dating back 5,000 years. It originated from Little Black Peak and reached over 40 miles into the Tularosa Basin, covering 120 square miles, with up to 160 feet thick molten lava. The lava field is considered to be one of the youngest in the continental United States and one of the largest lava fields in the world. What do you guys think so far? It's all a lava field there. Let's go hit the trail. Another important thing you probably want to bring along with you is bottled water, Gatorade, something of that sort, so you can stay hydrated on your hike here. It's not that long of a hike, but you never know. Better to be safe than sorry. There's hardly anyone here. Like right now, I don't see anyone on the trail at all from the bird's eye view I just had. I wonder if we'll see any greater roadrunners today. Did you know that the roadrunner is New Mexico's state bird? Sure is. Here's a nice little shade spot. We're here in the Chihuahuan Desert. White Sands National Park is south of us here. So is Three Rivers Petroglyph. Another information point here. This information board here talks about tarantulas. It says they have beady black eyes. Tarantulas are very small. They have 4 pairs of eyes that are located on the front of their body. However, tarantulas are nearly blind. They see their world through smell and touch. Interesting. Must suck to have all those eyes and not be able to see very well. I know. I have 4 eyes, so, and I don't have the best sight either. But geez, you figure if you had 4 more eyes, you'd have a better view of everything. Sorry, it's just worked out that way for him, I guess. Here's another shade point. Wow, this is pretty neat. Look how massive that is. This is just freaking amazing.
And here we have a juniper tree. So these tall, slender plants you see, they are the majestic subtle spoon plant. At first glance, this plant may be mistaken for a yucca. However, its ribbon-like leaves and tiny flowers, instead of bell-like blossoms of the yucca, are the characteristics which make it a member of the lily family. Look for the creamy white blossoms of the subtle between May and August. See this lava flow formation here, the ripple effect here. It has a Hawaiian name. This formation is known as Pahoehoe. So I thought that was pretty interesting to know. Small cave area here where bats like to hang out until nightfall. So what did you guys think of the Valley of Fires here in New Mexico? Please let us know down in the comment section below if you've been here. And if you haven't, is it a place that you'd like to check out in the near future? And I think it's time that we move on to our next destination. So stay tuned for more adventures. So now we're making our way to Rivers Petroglyph Site. It's about 30 minutes roughly from the lava field we just left there at the Valley of Fires. And you can't beat the scenic view as you're traveling around this valley here in the Tularosa Basin.
Here's the office where you pay your admission.
Camping at Three Rivers Petroglyphs is on BLM land. There are 5 shelter sites with picnic tables and grills, one of which is ADA accessible. 2 RV sites have covered picnic tables and have water and electric. There are also 5 tent sites, some with pads. Pets are allowed in the campground, but not on the trails. There is a restroom within the campground, but it doesn't have showers.
There are 2 trails here, the Petroglyph Trail, and then this trail that takes you over to a pre-contact village. Well, where it used to be at least. We stand among more than 21,000 petroglyphs of humans, animals, plants, and many abstract and geometric designs scattered over 50 acres of BLM land here in New Mexico's Chilean desert. Three Rivers Petroglyph Site is one of the largest and interesting rock art sites in the Southwest, also allowing visitors close access to the petroglyphs using the Petroglyph Trail that begins at the visitor shelter. The petroglyphs date back to between 200 and 1450 AD. They were created by Jornada Mogollon people who used stone tools to remove the dark patina on the exterior of the rocks to create these early works of art. Now that we've checked out the campground and day use area, why don't we go check out the trail where all the petroglyphs are?
I mispronounced Jornada. I'm sorry. It's pronounced Jornada, not Jornada. Boy, is it starting to get hot out here. I can tell my knees and ankles are going to be sore after this one. Let's power through this hike and see what we can find.
This mountain range that's behind me here is the Sacramento mountain range. And then over this way, this right here, this is all the Tularosa Basin right here. Way down there is White Sands National Park, and the Missile Range is all around in here. Okay. And then this is the San Andreas mountain range. I see some petroglyphs over here. Let's check them out, but first, look around the rocks and at your feet. Make sure there's no rattlesnakes. Make noise as you're going, just to be sure that they know you're coming, so they can warn you that they're there.
Thanks for all the information, Indiana John. They're just everywhere that the eye can see. I feel a connection. Like they're still around me, like they're still here.
Down this path are the remains of a village of the Hornada Magalan people, constructed over 1,000 years ago. Some of the buildings have been partially reconstructed so visitors can get a sense of what life was like for this clan of hunters and gatherers.
Well, we made it to Roswell, New Mexico. Let's go explore.
Let's find some aliens.
Y'all some of those desert UFO freaks.
Nothing starts the morning off better than a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit or bagel from McDonald's.
So we're gonna start our day off with a McDonald's breakfast. Not just any ordinary McDonald's. This one's like a UFO here. So we figured we'd stop here and start our day. There's also a Dunkin' Donuts next door if you're not in a McDonald's.
Your first stop in Roswell should be to the Visitor Center, located on Main Street. The staff inside are eager to tell you about Roswell and give you some tips on filling your day with unique experiences.
Bye.
What is that thing? It looks like a UFO!
So we're here for our first experience of Roswell, and I know I want to see the UFO museum here. What do you want to see the most?
I'm excited for the spacewalk, which is supposed to be a blacklight experience, so I think that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
The Alien Zone has some of the most unique souvenirs you'll find in Roswell. You can also pose for pictures with some of the resident aliens.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble now. I'm scared. Oh, look at the baby. And it's teething all right. Oh, yeah. These guys are just hanging out, aren't they?
It's set up so that you can take your own pictures with them.
It's also set up so you can have bad puns.
Well, you're always set up for a bad pun.
You're no pun. Yeah. This guy looks like he just finished on a bender. Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to come in on you like that. Didn't know you were in here. Oh, wow. Okay, sorry. Alright, well let's check out the International UFO Museum and Research Center.
The International UFO Museum and Research Center opened in 1991. It uses exhibits, recreations, storytelling, and guest lecturers to help visitors from all over the world question and explore UFOs and UFO sightings.
I was a master sergeant in the U.S. Army Air Force and a member of the crew which flew the debris to Fort Worth. The people on board, including Major Jesse Marcel, said it was from a flying saucer. I was
Max said the other material from the property looked like aluminum foil. It was very flexible and would not crush or burn. He also spoke of writing that resembled hieroglyphics.
I was 11 years old, living in Roswell, where my father, Major Jesse Marcel, served as the base intelligence officer. One night, I was awakened by my father in the middle of the night. He was very excited about some debris he had recovered from the desert.
I know when I was growing up, I didn't always get along with my dad, but when something came on TV about UFOs and aliens, him and I would always sit down and watch it together. It was always kind of like a bonding moment for us.
People might not know this, but here in Roswell is the second largest research library for UFO phenomena, next to the Vatican. Some pretty unique Lego sets here that you won't find in Walmart.
Bricktown Alien Attack uses over 250,000 Lego bricks to create an immersive experience. The displays include the Colosseum, a pirate adventure, and of course an alien invasion. You get to control some of the audio-visual aspects of each display. We also really enjoyed the virtual reality attraction, Spaceport. The VR experience is about 20 minutes long, and you have the choice of 2 different adventures. Roswell UFO Spacewalk is a unique art gallery, as well as a fun blacklight experience. It was a really fun experience that we recommend.
Me either. No one likes probes. Get you. Guess I showed them. Yeah, it is.
3 years in the United States Army in an engineering battalion. They sent me to Greenland twice. I never forgave them for that. At 33 years in Texas with the Highway Department, building roads and bridges. I retired in 1996, moved up here to Roswell to continue my interest in UFOs. Well, the whole thing with Roswell started in July 1947. There was a ranch foreman, Mac Brassel, on a ranch 65 miles northwest of here. At night during a thunderstorm, he heard a sound louder than thunder, an explosion of some kind. He went out the next morning on horseback to check his sheep, look at his windmills for damage. Came upon a debris field, pieces of something scattered 3/4 of a mile long by several hundred yards wide. Now the rancher had no idea what this stuff was. He had recovered weather balloons. They had a tag on them from the Air Force for a reward. So he'd pick up the tag, take it down to the base, get a couple extra dollars. He could use the extra money. But he didn't know what this was, so he loaded somebody's pickup. Came to town. He didn't talk to the military. He went to Sheriff Wilcox, the local sheriff. That sheriff's office was located up the street behind the courthouse, torn down a few years ago to make room for new courtrooms. The sheriff, his wife, and 2 little girls lived in the bottom of the building. The jail was upstairs. Well, the military found out that the rancher had given the sheriff degree. They came out the next day. They took the degree from the sheriff, took the 2 little girls aside and said, if your mom and dad ever talk about this, you'll never see them again. That was the first threat. Well, since they didn't know what it was, they contacted the military. Got a hold of Major Marcel, top intelligence officer with the atomic bomb group. Who in the audience knows where the first atomic bomb was tested?
This here in New Mexico.
In New Mexico? You know where? 2 hours from here. Trinity site out at White Sands. We tested one there, we tested one in the Pacific, and dropped 2 on Japan. Most people don't realize that after they dropped the bombs in Japan, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group was stationed in Roswell in 1947 when this happened. So those were the best in the world at the time. So Major Marcel and his assistant, Captain Cabot, went up to the ranch. It was late. The next morning, they loaded some debris in their vehicles and came back to the base. General Ramey was in Fort Worth, Texas at Carswell Air Force Base. He was in charge of Roswell. He called out here, he said, I want Major Marcel to fly to Fort Worth, bring me some debris, I want to look at it. So Marcel packaged some up, got on a B-29 called Dave's Dream, and flew over to Fort Worth. When he got there, he went to the general's office, put the debris on the general's desk. General Ramey said, let's go in the map room, show me where this happened. When they came out of the map room, Major Marcel was shocked to find none of the debris still in the office. And in its place on the floor was a weather balloon. Major Marcel was forced to pose for pictures with that weather balloon. We have a couple of pictures of Marcel out here on the wall with that weather balloon. I want you to look at those and look at the expression on his face. He does not want to be in those pictures. General Ramey is holding a piece of paper in his hand. But what he didn't realize, the print on that paper is facing the camera. Years later, with computers, we're starting to read what's on that piece of paper. Some of the words are victims of the wreck. Weather balloons didn't have victims or pilots. There's only 2 words in the English language have that many letters, some in the same location. That's violins and virgins. I don't think either one has anything to do with Roswell. So somebody else I knew was Glenn Dennis, a mortician in 47, one of the founders of the museum. Glenn was with Ballard Funeral Home down the street, which is still in business today. Not too long, I hope. And he had a contract with the military for ambulance service and funerals for the military guys. He got a phone call. There was an airman injured in town in a motorcycle accident. So he picked him up in the funeral home ambulance, took him out to the base hospital. When he got out there, he said there were 2 Army ambulances parked at the rear entrance of the hospital with the back doors open and what he described as gray-looking metal in the embassies. So he took the engineerman inside. The 6'2" red-headed captain grabbed him by the shoulder, turned him around, said, "Glenn, if you go to town and spread any rumors about the hospital, they'll find your bones out in the sand." That was another threat. We had a nurse friend that worked out there. She came out of the side room with her face covered and nauseated. Said, "Glenn, you better get out of here before you get in trouble." So the military escorted him back to the funeral home. The next day, the nurse called Glenn. She said, "Come out to the officers' club. I need to talk to you." So he went out there, and on the back of the prescription pad, she drew a picture of an alien. She told Glenn she was taking notes for a pathologist that was examining a body. She gave Glenn a pretty good description of what they looked like. 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Very long, skinny arms and legs. Almond-shaped eyes, very black, no pupil. And she talked about the hand being 4 fingers, not 5, and what looked like suction cups on the ends of her on the fingers. So the next day, Glenn called out there to get more information from the nurse and was told, "Glenn, the nurse is no longer here. She's been shipped out." So the next day, she's gone. He did some checking, was told she was killed in a plane crash in Europe. There's no record of a plane crash in Europe. Now, the problem with Glenn's story is he never gave us the real name of the nurse. He referred to her as a lieutenant. So if you don't have a name, the research stops right there. You can't go any further. One of the other guys I knew was Walter Hogg, that wrote the press release for the newspaper with the atomic bomb group, under orders of the base commander, Colonel Blanchard. He argued with the base commander about doing it, but he finally wrote it. That's on the wall out there also. Roswell Daily Record, July 8, 1947. And basically what he said in that article was, we have in our possession a flying saucer. That was the only atomic bomb group in the world at the time saying, we've got one. The next day, General Ramey in Fort Worth put out an article in the paper saying it was nothing but a weather balloon. And then the story died. Nothing was said until 1994. The Air Force came out with another report saying it wasn't a flying saucer or a weather balloon, it was a mogul balloon. Mogul balloons were high-altitude balloons that we used to check the Russians to see if they were doing nuclear testing, which they didn't do till 1949, 2 years later. And then the last excuse is hanging on the parachute out here, the crash test dummy. That came out 2 weeks before the 50th anniversary in 1997. I was with the museum. I knew they had them down at White Sands to check the parachutes, the speed sled, before they used humans. So I called down to the Space Museum at Alamogordo. I said, can I get one of them crash test dummies for our museum? Sure, come get one, we have several. Took my pickup truck down there, I went to the Space Museum, I got the crash test dummy. I put him in the passenger seat of my pickup, strapped him in, and put a Dallas Cowboy hat on him. Got a lot of strange looks coming up here. When I got to the museum, I realized the police department is directly behind us. If anybody sees me carrying that body in, I'm going to jail. But I got him in, hung him up, named him Harold, and he's still hanging there. Now, how many of you have seen the movie Independence Day? Oh, good. Remember when the president was at Area 51 looking around and he said, how long has this been here? That's probably a true statement. The President of the United States are not involved in this for 2 reasons. They don't have the security clearance, and if they talk after being in the White House for 8 years, that becomes a national security issue. Bill Clinton was on the Jimmy Kimmel late night TV show a couple years ago. The whole show was dedicated to UFOs. And at the end of the show, Clinton told Jimmy, he said, I was at the White House 8 years and I couldn't find a thing. Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia before he became president. He had a UFO sighting, made a report to the Mutual UFO Network. You never heard another word about it. So the presidents aren't in on it. Has anybody heard about the Navy pilot film? All right, Navy pilots have been filming stuff for years that they can't explain with their cameras. So last year, Congress got pressured to have a hearing. They called in Defense Department and Navy people. They looked at 144 cases. They said they could resolve one case. It was a deflated balloon. Now stop and think. In 1947, we have a weather balloon. 1994, we have a local balloon. And in 2021, we have a deflated balloon. That's 76 years of balloon storage. Do you guys know what the first letter of balloon story is? BS. That's what we're dealing with. If you're looking for the truth, you came to the right place. This is it. You're not going to get it in Washington or from the government.
Thanks for joining us during our adventures in southern New Mexico. We really enjoyed our visit, but it's time for this road trip to continue on as we make our way to other parts of New Mexico. We hope you continue to join us. And do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. That'll help the channel a lot. Thanks everyone. See you on the next one.